Welcome back to Scoxford. Tonight was the last show for the term for the Oxford Imps, so I'm going to miss the Oxford Imps quite a bit. They've been a great help in relieving a lot of the stress from Oxford and studying tutorials and reading and so on and so forth. And they've been hilarious and they've been great to me. So this is my thank you to you guys. At tonight's show, there was a lot of thank yous for the term and stuff, and even a special mention of Scott, which would be me, during the show, which I didn't expect, and I looked a little embarrassed, mostly because I was, but I was also very grateful because it was nice. Just a nice gesture. I didn't expect it. I didn't, it was just great. So thank you guys for the shout out back to me during the show, and I really appreciated it. I got a shout out. I usually give the shout outs, but I got a shout out, and so I was really grateful for that. It was a great show. I absolutely love the Magpie musical. It's fantastic. Normally I don't see too many onstage kisses at the Imps shows, but tonight I saw three. Not one, not two, but three onstage kisses. So, wow, way to step out of your comfort zones. If there are comfort zones, I don't know. But that surprised me the first time and the second time. And then the third time I was starting to get used to it. But it was still surprising. Anyway, great show. Thank you for a good turn. And that's it. I've been thinking lately, let me just open up my heart a little bit, be a little bit more serious than normal, that it seems to me here at Oxford, we love to debate, we love to criticize, we love to pick at everything, and find flaws and find faults in everything. It's part of the way that the system, it seems, the tutorial system, all the independent work and all that, kind of gears us towards becoming scholars in that sense, where we're able to read things and then pick them apart, find out what's good and then find out what's bad in them, but generally just find out what's wrong with them. And we debate all the time. Papers, we end up debating each other. I realize that we can kind of debate the significance out of everything, which seems like a very bold statement. I'm sure that everyone wants to pick that apart, but the thing that I'm getting at is that we look at a concept and we say, that's great, that's cool, I can get a lot out of that, and then we pick it apart and say, this is wrong with it, that's wrong with it, it implies this, and there could be something wrong with this. And we get our blinders on, and we look at these really fine details here, and we draw everything out, and we make it very complicated. And although there may be some value to that, the fact of the matter is we get so focused in on these little details that sometimes we lose what we could be getting out of the big picture. I've been reading Nicomachean Ethics, and just reading that, I mean, if you were just reading it for yourself, there could be some good things out of that. Moderation is a good thing. Trying to follow your reason and not be controlled by passion and that kind of thing, not be controlled by the desire for these more basic urges and pleasures and that kind of thing. There's good in that, but I've been spending so much time criticizing it and so much time picking it apart and finding contradictions in it that I feel like the entire term I haven't really gotten much out of it for me. And I guess that's not the purpose of it, but I realize there's a lot of things that have a lot of meaning, and by debating them consistently, at times we lose sight of any of the value that we could actually get out of things. And also, we become very critical people. We spend so much time criticizing that it's hard for us, students here, I've noticed, at least a lot of the students from America, this might be kind of new for them experience, it's very difficult for us to turn off the criticism switch. And I find that we've been applying heavy scrutiny to everything that everyone says. Now this isn't, I shouldn't be using superlatives like that because it's not everyone and it's not all the time, but much more frequently than I'm used to, you find that any kind of statement you make, even if it's a, half-joking statement, it'll instantly be under scrutiny from someone, and they'll say, no, I don't think that's true, or I don't think you're allowed to say that. And if you start talking about anything more serious, like anything political, religious, so on and so forth, theological, philosophical, even making a broad statement like that, it'll instantly be attacked, and you feel like you kind of have to be on your toes constantly, and I don't think that is good. In certain arenas, yes, but I think it gets to a point where you need to just turn it off. And there's this concept in communications. I'm actually communication studies major back home, but I'm studying philosophy here. that's defensiveness, and there's two different sides of this one element of why people get defensive, and it's certainty versus provisionalism. And certainty is saying, I am right, you are wrong, all the time, right? Provisionalism is saying, I believe I am right, but you also believe that you are right, and there is a possibility that though I think you're wrong, you may be right. So make a provision for the fact that you could be right. And you don't see that much here. You see much certainty, hardly see any provisional. No one ever says, well, I think you could be right, I disagree with you, but there's a chance that you could be right and I could be wrong. It's usually, no, you're wrong. You are wrong, I am right. All that matters is that you realize that you are wrong and that you accept what I know to be right. And that can get people defensive and get people's nerves, and it just leads to an impasse whenever you have any kind of discussion or debate on anything, because it's just, I'm right, no, I'm right, that's it. Where there could be some value. Because you realize that no one will support a point of view if they don't see any virtue in it, if they don't see any value in their point of view. And if you think they're a reasonable person, and the fact that they found some value or virtue in that point of view, maybe should give you a reason to at least consider their point of view and try to understand why a reasonable person does hold that point of view. But that's my soapbox, so I'm going to step off of it. Give a shout out to Dave. I've had a great time. Dave's been coming to the shows for the Oxford Imps, and have a great time getting to know you. I hope that whatever you go on to do, and he's talked a little bit about getting a job with writing dialogue for video games. I don't know how serious that is, but I think you'd be great at it, Dave. And whatever you go on to do, I hope it involves some creativity because you're clever, and I think you could go far. So this is your shout out, and it's an encouraging one. And that's it for Scoxford. Oh, and I got a haircut, so thanks for noticing.